One of the big topics that we always like to talk about on this YouTube channel is business and how anybody can start one. Today though, we're talking about the results that we had in 14 days of selling on eBay. As for a fair experiment, I spent 14 days with a brand new account listing items every single day. In the 14 days I was able to list about 100 items, well exactly 100 items, which is not too hard, it's less than 10 a day and it was fairly easy to do. This is an experiment which anybody can replicate at home, and we made a lot of money doing so. So I'm going to tell you all about it as somebody who started eBay for the first time and also has experience selling on eBay in the past, where I was able to build up my eBay brand to selling over 10,000 a month worth of products. Let's discuss all of that right now. Well, let's start off by talking about what happened. The first part of this video is in its own piece. It's titled, I tried selling on eBay for 7 days and this is how much we made. And we did actually make quite a few sales in that video, and it was really quite decent. It was better than I expected, and in only 7 days we were able to build up a good number of sales, which is obviously better than what many people would have expected, because most people would think it would go nowhere. But we got a lot of sales and it looked like we were off to a great start. So I thought in the 14 days we can just build off this even more, and that was absolutely the case, but nowhere near my estimations, I have to say. Now for context, when I started selling on eBay the first time on my other account, I sold about 10 items in the first month. In the 14 days that have just gone, I think I've sold 7 or 8 items. So in 2 weeks, I've sold almost as much as I sold in the first month. Our views figures on the account have skyrocketed and are amazingly high. Our numbers are amazing and everything is going superbly well. So I'm going to tell you about what the numbers are, how I did this, and more importantly, how you can start bringing in a lot of money for yourself at home. So first we're going to talk through each and every sale that we had. Now our grand total for selling on eBay in the 14 days was £450 when we click on the eBay app. However, I must say one thing, and this is important. £100 of this was for an item which I sold, which is not replicable. Every single other item could be drop shipped or sourced very easily from a supplier, so I think that's fair topic for a video. But the one item that I had exclusively, I'm not going to count that into the total of how much money we made. But if we were to count that in, we made £450 and a total profit number of £153. So with that disclaimer being out there, how much money did we actually make? Well, with that number being accounted for, we made about £314.98 in revenue in 14 days. Pretty good going for our first 2 weeks selling on the platform. We made £90 in pure profits, and our fees for selling on the platform were £52. So obviously the fees have taken away from our profits massively, which is a shame. Otherwise we'd have £140. But as I've said before, eBay is so easy to get sales that in a way the fees are just one of the things that you have to deal with. Otherwise you could say, well, I could pay lower fees, but it's like, would you get the same reach? I just don't know if you would. So we made about £90, like I said, £90.18, a very decent profit for 14 days, and that sets us on track for the first month to make a profit of around £200. Now I also must disclose that we had one more sale which ended up getting cancelled, not because of anything that we did wrong, it was because of one of the issues with the buyers, but otherwise we'd have profit of more like £110. So let me tell you about what I did, how I made these sales, and how you can do the same too. So as I always try and make the point to mention, my results are nothing special and can be replicated by anybody who puts in the relevant amounts of effort. 100 listings was not bad. Now in terms of what I was listing so that you can do the same thing, I'm not going to tell you the exact product for hopefully obvious reasons, but there are a few principles that I look for when it comes to items. Especially if we're going to be drop shipping like I have been doing in this experiment, it's important to note that we need to get items to the customer fairly quickly. So we want items that deliver in less than 11 days, preferably less than even 7 days. A lot of my items came between 2 and 12 days, which is generally speaking fine, and nobody has complained yet. Because of this, we can get more good reviews, every item arrives on time, and we can stay in eBay's good books, and people don't even know that we're drop shipping because it doesn't affect the way that they get the product, so it's completely fine. In terms of the actual products that we were sourcing, there was a few rules that I was looking for. I wanted to find products that were very simplistic. We're not going to be selling anything digital, anything computerized, because I've done that in the past, and to be honest, things can go a lot more wrong. If we sell something that doesn't move, doesn't have any moving parts, or has very simplistic moving parts, we're not going to have too much trouble with returns and all that kind of stuff, because not much can go wrong. To add to that, I tried to look for items that made us a decent profit. I think this is a big thing that people often underestimate. If you're going to sell on eBay, get up an eBay fees calculator, look at what the fees are for the item and calculate your profit accordingly. I see people selling items for like less than £10, but if the item sells for less than £10, your profit is obviously going to be less than £10. And I don't personally want this. We can talk about scaling up and selling 1,000 units, but I'd rather do less work and get more money. So for that reason, every single product that I looked for had a profit margin over £10, bar one, and that was because I kind of got caught out with all the dropshipping sales. But yeah, everything else sold for over £10 with an average sale value of £12 in profit per item. This number means that we can make a lot more money for a lot less work, and it's much easier to scale the business, because if we were making only £1 per sale, we'd have had to list 10 times more items and obviously done 10 times more orders to get the same numbers. It just doesn't make sense in my eyes, so I'd be trying to sell things that are mid-tier in value, not really the high end of stuff at the minute because I don't have that much feedback on my account, and obviously the consequences that can come with that is if somebody wants to fraud me out of an item that costs £200, £300, £400, £500, it's going to be a bit of a hit, so I don't want to do that yet. Most of my items fall in the range of between, a minimum of 25 and a maximum of really 150, and the high end I try to stay away from, even in that range. In terms of best practices for listing, this is also fairly simple. Enough photos, make sure you add enough keywords into the titles and descriptions, make sure you have good descriptions, and make sure you've done competitor analysis and research. What are your prices like compared to your competitors? It doesn't necessarily need to be cheaper, but it should be around the same. If not, you should have a superior product, and that's important to know also. And in terms of finding the time and dedication to do it, this should be fairly easy as things start to pick up, but when you're starting up, I understand that this can be a bit harder. What I would say is if you can allocate an hour a day to this, it's a great start. You don't necessarily have to do 10 listings roughly a day like I did for most of the experiment. That's fine. If you want to start off by just doing one listing a day, you'll get some results. Obviously, it's going to be a lot longer to scale than it is for me. I just wanted to get back into the swing of eBay selling, so I did everything fairly quickly. And if you don't have a job or anything like that, we just made £100 for basically maybe 2 hours work a day in 2 weeks. Not really too bad at all. So that also starts to scale up and grow as you build a portfolio of items that people want to buy. The sales start to come in more and more, and obviously the feedback starts to increase, the search volume starts to increase, and all of these things indicate that your account is going well. So the sales figures that we've seen, not too bad. I am still impressed for the first month. It's a bit of a shame that we listed so many items and many of them did not sell at all, but again, we're in the first month and the first half of the first month as well. You can't really complain about that, especially when we actually did have some money coming in, unlike some of the other experiments which we've conducted. I really do speak from experience when I say this is something which can go a lot better than it is, and I know that if I stick at it for long enough and hard enough, I am going to see much better results, starting with hundreds of pounds a month, then hundreds of pounds a week, then hundreds of pounds a day. I've done it before and I know that I can do it again, and I know that you guys can do it too if you really want to. So I hope you enjoyed this follow-up part of this video. Like I say, it's very easy to do. And if anything, eBay is one of those businesses which I'd recommend to anybody looking to start a business at absolute most. Very easy, not much work. Again, if you can drop ship all of the items as well, you don't have to even hold inventory and you only have to pay for things when items sell. Very easy to do, very simplistic to learn, unlike places like Amazon where there's a lot of stuff to manage. I think it's so easy that anybody can start this. So I hope this video stands as some motivation to you guys to see what can happen in just a few weeks if you put your mind to it and if you find the right avenue to sell on. If you enjoy videos like this one, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe, of course, and I do hope that you can share it with somebody else who may need it. I make videos like this not necessarily to show my progress, although I do like to hold myself accountable by making these videos, but also I want to show you guys what is actually possible to the average person. I don't have any amazing skills. All I had access to in this video to film was a laptop, which I uploaded everything from, and an internet connection. Everybody has access to these things, and you can even do it on a phone. If you want a more comprehensive guide, I can definitely give that, but I just want to keep you guys up to date with how some of these experiments go. So now I've said all that, thank you again for watching, and if you do enjoy it, do drop me a comment and tell me what series you want to see next. What new avenue shall we go down next? Anyway, thank you, and I hope to see you then.